Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello to everyone. Thank you very much. Today is actually we have the sixth distinguished lecture series, and I would like to actually give a welcome remarks to our distinguished professor, actually Professor Tsuchiya, and he actually one of my best friend in Tohoku University, since we have a collaboration under the Graduate School of Environmental Study started in 2012. So since then, we have a lot of symposium and conferences actually under the global safety, or we call it as a G safety. And the first international symposium was happened in 2014 and followed by 2015 in UTM. So since 5 years ago, we have a lot of program with Tohoku University, and right now we are more collaborate in terms of environment and sustainability. So one of the reason why we invite this professor, because he's a very active in what we call that under the energy and the smart energy, and he's actually more focused on the geomaterials and energy. So this is the best for us to understand related on the smart energy and also some renewable energy. So he's very active, member of Japanese Geothermal Research Society, as well as the Japanese Association for Petroleum Technology. And the last but not least, he's actually a very active member, organizing committee in Water Dynamic Secretary General under the Water Rock Interaction 17. So that's all my introduction for Professor Tsuchiya, and back to Datuk Professor Rafiq.
Thank you, Fadil. Assalamualaikum and hello, welcome everyone, and welcome to UTM Engineering Distinguished Lecture Series, our sixth lecture in the series. My name is Muhammad Rafiq, and I am the Dean of Engineering, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Today, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome Prof Noriyoshi Tsuchiya to our program. A bit about our presenter today. Dr. Noriyoshi Tsuchiya is a professor at the Graduate School of Environmental Studies, Tohoku University since 2004. He studied at the Department of Resources Engineering at Tohoku University and became a research assistant after having finished his PhD in 1988. He is now the Dean of Graduate School of Environmental Studies since 2018. He participated in the 31st Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition in 1989 to 1990 and in the 35th Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition 1993-1994. In 2009-2010, Prof Tsuchiya led the expedition himself as the leader of the Earth Scientific Research Party of the Sør Rondane Mountains, East Antarctica in the 51st Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition. He studies water-rock interaction involving geothermal and metamorphic fluids under various Earth scientific situations. He also carries out hydrothermal experiments for understanding rock subcritical and supercritical geofluids interactions. He is now a board member of the Japanese Association for Petroleum Technology, Geothermal Research Society of Japan, Society of Resource Geology, and the Japanese Association of Mineralogical Sciences. So that is a brief biography of our speaker. Here now is Professor Noriyoshi Tsuchiya, professor at Tohoku University, to talk about Smart Energy Society after COVID-19. Prof Noriyoshi Tsuchiya, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is a great honor to have a lecture to UTM students and all over the world as a distinguished lecture series. And thank you very much, Dean Rafiq-san and Fadi-san, to introduce me. Thank you very much. So today I would like to talk about the Smart Energy Society after COVID-19. Okay, shall we start the PowerPoint slide 5? So first of all, thank you very much for both of you, the Rafiq-san and the Fadil-san, to invite me as a distinguished lecture series. And I am a geologist. And Rafiq sensei already introduced me. I went to Antarctica 3 times, and I spent a long time in Antarctica. And it was a very great time for me. So today I have the tie and I have a jacket. but at the distinguished lecture speakers. But actually, I like this kind of the outdoor jacket. So this is the very great pleasure to get the good sample in Antarctica. So today, I would like to talk about the smart energy society after COVID-19. And he is Date Masamune. He's a lord of Sendai City. He founded Sendai City about 400 years ago. He is a founder of Sendai City. And today, I would like to talk about the interdisciplinary studies of Nobel values on energy for sustainable development society. But first of all, I would like to introduce Tohoku University. Tohoku University is a top 3 university in Japan. And you know the University of Tokyo and the Kyoto University and Tohoku University. Each university has each characteristics. The Tohoku University, our motto is research first policy. Research first policy. And established in 1907, about almost 110 years ago. And the last 100 years, many professors studies practical research. And for example, you can see the TV antenna in the world. This is discovered by a professor in Tohoku University. And also the optical fiber. It's very important technology to internet society. And also the principle of hard disk and LED. So our university found and discovers many new technologies for future society. And now our Tohoku University as an international university, we have 1,742 international students from 19 countries. We have many foreign students from all over the world. And the number 1 country is China, and the second is Indonesia. And Malaysia, I don't know the exact number, but almost 100 students are studying in our university from Malaysia. So the Sendai is located here, and here is Tokyo, and here is 400 kilometers from Tokyo to Sendai. It is a little bit far, but it's no problem because we have a bullet train we call Shinkansen. It takes only 1.5 hours from Tokyo to Sendai. And Tokyo is very crowded city, urban city. So actually, I don't know. I don't like the Tokyo city, but Sendai's population is only 1 million, and we have very good forest and natural conditions. So the Sendai is a kind of the academic city in Tohoku district. The Tohoku is the meaning of Tohoku is the northeast part of Japan, and the Tohoku area is here. Here, a very big area, and the population is 8 million. And the central city of Tohoku district is Sendai, and the population is 1 million. So before the talk, we have to talk about the earthquake and the tsunami disaster. In 2011, March 11, 1446 in Japan time, we had a very big earthquake. We called Great East Japan Earthquake, and also we had a tsunami disaster. So this earthquake, magnitude 9.0, extremely huge earthquake. So after and the Tohoku University also damaged by earthquake, and after 1 month, we can enter the tsunami disaster area, and I took the picture by myself. This is a destroyed train on the land. And you can see this is a 3rd floor buildings. And you can see here, this is a car on the top of the buildings. So here is Onagawa town. The height of tsunami is over 30 meters. So in 2011, we had a very big earthquake and tsunami disaster. And also this, you can see the bus on the buildings. And also this is a boat on the road. So this is a big disaster, but another one is a very big accident. The Tohoku University Sendai is here, the 100 south. Here is a Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power stations. As you know, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station was destroyed by tsunami. So close up Google Earth image. So you can see the reactor. So there are 4 reactors. This is the number 1 reactors and the number 2 reactors, number 3 reactors, number 4 reactors. There is a 4 nuclear reactors. All of them are destroyed by tsunami. And also, as you know, we had a very severe radiation pollution after the explosion of the reactors. So this is the polluted area around the Fukushima Daiichi power stations. So at that time, and more than 160,000 people cannot come back to their own home. And the WHO reported there is no statistic increase of cancer due to low-level nuclear radiation in generally, but some amount of increase can be estimated for the thyroid cancer of children. And still now, the 2020, still now, the 50,000 people cannot be back to their own home. So this drastic change after the 3.11 in 2011. So now, and also we had the worldwide problem about the coronavirus. So after the drastic change after 3.11, and also we had drastic change after the coronavirus problems. And the geothermal, I'm a geologist and study the geothermal energy, and geothermal is one of the most promising, sustainable, and safety energy instead of nuclear energy. So the Tohoku University, we established the interdisciplinary studies of Nobel values. It's a new word, Nobel values on the energy for sustainable development society. So I would like to talk about the new world and the future world after the 2011 and also after the COVID-19. This is world and talk in 2050, about 30 years later. So this is a new energy society. So in Japan and the world, it's completely different situation on energy. So in the world, energy demand is increasing. Energy is increasing. This is energy demand in the world. Energy is increasing. People in the world, they require more energy. So at the red line, this is the population is increasing in the world, and energy demand is also increasing in the world. But in Japan, energy in Japan is now here is a 2000. Here is 2000. 2000, this is 2005 and 2010. This is energy demand is maximum, and now is decreasing. Now is decreasing. So Japan society, we decrease population, and also we decrease energy demand. So this is the different ways. The world requires more energy, but Japan needs not so much energy due to decrease of population. So this is opposite two ways. So keep in mind, so the world and the Japan situation is completely different. But actually in the world, so more energy, people want to get the more energy. And also the almost 1 billion people cannot use electricity. No electricity in the world, about 1 billion people. And mostly the 55% of Sub-Sahara, which means the south part of African continent, they cannot use electricity. And also in Asia, the India and Bangladesh and Indonesia, Pakistan, Myanmar, the other Asian countries, they have not so much electricity. So in the world, we need more energy. So we have to produce more energy. But inside in Japan, we need less energy, decrease of population, and also the high tech, with a very high efficiency of LED. For example, LED, we don't need not so much energy for lighting, because LED requires only the 1/8 or sometimes 1/10 energy compared with the conventional lighting system. So, and also the high techs for the zero emission vehicle, for example, electric vehicle EV, and also the FCV, the fuel cell vehicle, and also the ZEB is a zero emission building. We can save the energy. We can save the energy. So in Japan, less energy. It's a different situation compared with world. But actually, the primary energy is the almost same trend in Japan, also in the world. So in Japan, it's the oil, the coal, and the natural gas. Almost 90% of energy demand in Japan is from fossil energy. And in the world, and oil, and coal, and the natural gas, almost 86%. And of the energy demand is from fossil energy. And another one is the nuclear energy, the hydro, and the renewable energy. But compared to the world, Japan has now, we stopped not all, but only the 5 nuclear reactors are operating now. So we have 52 nuclear reactors, but only 5 reactors are operating now. So nuclear is very small amount. So instead of nuclear energy, the oil and the coal and natural gas, which means the fossil energy are required for energy demand in Japan. So still now the 2020, almost 20 years already passed after the 21st century, but still now the world and Japan is depending on the fossil energy. That is a reason of the global warming. So that is the primary issue in Japan. And then another one is the national grid. So about 150 years ago, the government, it's a samurai government, opened Japan to the Western countries. So after that, about 150 years ago, the government established the national grid, which can cover the whole land of Japan, and from the north to south, so we can use electricity. That is a national grid, whole Japan network. And the government established giant power stations. Sometimes that's the nuclear stations, and sometimes the thermal and the fossil energy power stations, the giant power stations, which capacity is almost 1 gigawatt, 1,000 megawatt. So it's very huge power stations, and they can cover the whole Japanese island. That is a national grid. So still now, the government and the electric companies in Japan, they want to keep this national grid and also the giant power stations using nuclear energy and also the thermal energy. That is the current situation. But after the 2011, and also after some disaster, the typhoon disasters, so some people are thinking about another energy system. So one of the solution is the renewable energies. So the renewable energy in the world, this is a statistical data. And almost half of renewable energy is wind, and 49% is the renewable energy is wind, and 25% is the biomass, and 14% is solar, photovoltaic panels, and the waste material is 6%, and the geothermal is only 5%. And the solar is the heat is only 1%. So the renewable energy in the world is half is wind. Another one is biomass and solar PV. That is a renewable energy in the world. So this is 1990 and 2000 and 2010 and 2018. So, and around here, in the last of the 20 centuries, the geothermal is the top renewable energy in the world. But after that, wind and the solar is increasing rapidly. So geothermal also is increasing, but it's a linear function. But wind and the solar is decreasing rapidly as the exponential functions. So wind is increasing rapidly, and now the half of renewable energy is wind. And also the solar and the installed capacity is increasing now. So now is the wind and the solar is the dominant energy resources in terms of renewable energies. So, but I would like to talk and introduce the geothermal energy. In Malaysia, I know in Malaysia you don't have not so much geothermal field, and you are not so familiar with the geothermal. But the geothermal is the promising and the very the basic and the fundamental energy resources as the renewable energies. So this is geothermal. The Earth is a thermal engine. As you know, there are volcanic eruptions and magma. So the Earth is active, and the geothermal is also the active and promising. So this is a geothermal energy. The potential of geothermal energy, number one is United States. So United States, particularly in the West Coast, California, the Oregon, and Washington, Seattle, they have very many active volcanoes. USA, America is the number one country as a potential of geothermal resources. And number two is Indonesia, and the third country of geothermal potential is Japan. And the world in geothermal in the world are 20,000 megawatts, but Japan is only the 600 megawatts. So now it's geothermal energy in the world almost 20,000 megawatts, but Japan is like this one, not so much. We have several problems. To develop the geothermal energy, but so the world in geothermal is increasing linearly. So I already said the wind and the solar is increasing exponentially, but geothermal is increasing linearly, but recently is increasing exponentially. But in the geothermal power plant in the world, that is made in Japan. So this is the market of geothermal turbine in the geothermal power plant, and 55% made by Mitsubishi Hitachi Corporation, and almost 24% is Toshiba, and 20% Fuji Electric. That's the big three companies. They occupied almost 70% of the geothermal turbine market in the world. I have been to geothermal field in the world, in Mexico, in Indonesia, in Iceland, in El Salvador. So many places I can meet the Japanese engineer who maintain the geothermal power plant in another country, because almost 70% of geothermal turbine is occupied by the three Japanese companies. And also this is the United States, and this is the blue one is 1990, the orange is 2000, and the gray is 2018. So the United States is increasing, the Philippines also increasing, the Mexico is increasing, Italy, the New Zealand, but Japan is almost stable. Indonesia is increasing rapidly, and also El Salvador, Kenya, and Iceland, and Nicaragua, China, and Turkey. So all over the world, we call that is a geothermal fever. And the market of geothermal power plant is occupied by the Japanese companies. So compared with the solar energies, the geothermal is not so enhanced, but this is the capacity utilization. The geothermal is 83%. Geothermal, it is possible to operate 24 hours in a day. So in a year, only 1 month, we have to stop geothermal power point for maintenance, only 1 month in a year. So the capacity utilization in the geothermal power station is 83%, but window is 20% because sometimes no wind. So in that case, efficiency is getting down. So the efficiency of the wind is only the 20%, and the solar is only the 12%, because at night time, it is impossible to generate electricity in nighttime, and also the cloudy days and the rainy days, it is impossible to generate electricity. So the efficiency of the solar is only the 12%. So the installed capacity solar is 300 gigawatt, but the geothermal only 20 gigawatt. But efficiency is sevenfold, 7 times higher than the solar. So 20 times 7 is 140 gigawatt. So almost half of solar energy is provided by geothermal. So geothermal, the capacity is not so big, but the efficiency is very good compared with solars. So the geothermal is the most promising renewable energies, and it's very stable and base load electricity. But it's not so big. The 5 megawatt to the 50 megawatt is suitable. Partly it's possible 100 megawatt, but it's limited. Mostly the 5 megawatt to 50 megawatt. It's reasonable and suitable capacity for geothermal energy. Not so big compared with nuclear, compared with the giant thermal power stations. So not so big, but not so small. So for example, wind and solar is very small, but not so small compared with solar, but not so big compared with the nuclear. And also the geothermal is not only electricity, but also the heat. So geothermal. So geothermal energy is heat energy. So we can use electricity and heat energy by geothermal. And the long-term operations. The first geothermal power station is in Japan, is operated since 1966. So almost 60 years already passed, but that geothermal power station is still operating. It's very, very long-term operations. So that is the characteristics of geothermal energies. But I'd like to talk about the new society, new energy society. And we discuss within Tohoku University new values of energy, new values of energy. So how do you think the value of energy? More energy? Enough energy is enough, or other social impact. We are now discussing about the values of energy. So in Japan, keep in mind, in Japan, the world is a different trend. In the world, they require more energy. Yes, that's right. This is more energy. But in Japan, energy demand is decreasing, so enough energy is important, and enough energy is enough. So this is the value of energy, energy values. This is the quantity. Yes, we need quantity, more energy, more joules. So that is very important for the people, especially in the sub-Saharan society, in the sub-Saharan countries. They need the quantity, more joules. And also the quality. Excelling is important. We can get the high quality energy. That is another word. Another word is excelling. And also the time response is very important. This is a conceptual unit, joule per second. That is what, but it's a conceptual unit. So for example, jet engine, so the rocket engine, we need huge energy within very short time. So that is a jet engine, rocket engine. But in the ordinary life, we don't need such a huge energy within a short time. We need the long-term energy demand. So time response is very important. Also, the social acceptance or social license to operate. That is important. For example, how do you think about the nuclear? How do you think about the thermal power stations, which is a reason of the global warming? So the social acceptance is very important. So this is the energy values, the quantity and the quality and the time response and the social acceptance. And also, we are now discussing about the new concept of the modeling. So usually researchers, including me, we are always thinking about the forecast modeling. What's the meaning of forecast modeling? This is a present, here is a present status, And growing is important, and growing promises bright futures, and the globalization is needed. So so this is a forecast modeling. So the future is more brightness, and the future is promising, and the globalization is important. That is a forecast modeling. Growing up, growing up, growing up. This is a forecast modeling. But now we are thinking about the backcast modeling. The backcast, what's the meaning of backcast modeling? The backcast modeling, we first of all, we have to consider, we have to think about ideal future society. Ideal future society and backcast modeling, and what should we do now? What should we do now for ideal future society? The growing is limited. The growing promises bright future. So sometimes growing doesn't promise the bright future. And think globally and act locally. In the environmental studies, we are always thinking about the think globally, but act locally. So that is the different status in the forecast modeling and backcast modeling. So now we are thinking about the backcast modeling. First of all, we have to define the ideal future society, and then we have to think about what should we do now. So that is the backcast modeling. The energy is also the backcast modeling. So what is an ideal future society? What is an ideal future society? So in the United Nations, SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals defined by United Nations. So SDGs is one of the ideal future society. That is one of the ideal future society. And before SDGs, we discussed within Tohoku University what is an ideal future society. That is a sustainable and sufficient society. So this is English presentation, English term. So we discuss in Japanese. This is a 持続可能で心豊かな社会 in Japanese, but in English is a sustainable and sufficient society. So before SDGs, we already discussed about the ideal future society, which is a sustainable and sufficient society. What's the meaning of sufficient? Sufficient means enough, not more. Enough is enough. And also the moderate, and also the heartful. That is the meaning of sufficient. So the sustainable is easy to understand, but the sufficient is sometimes the concept, the philosophy is a little bit different of the development, but sufficient is enough, the model, and the heartful. So that is the ideal future society defined by Tohoku University before sustainable SDGs, sustainable and sufficient society. So this is some part of the sustainable sufficient society. So one is the intelligent dispersibility. There are two kinds of dispersibility. One is a temporal dispersibility. Another one is a spatial dispersibility. For example, the energy in daytime, for example, solar energy, migrates to nighttime or summertime, hot season energy, hot season in summertime, transfer into the winter time, cold time, and the cold time, the winter time, the energy in winter time, for example, snow and ice converted into the hot season in summertime. So this is a temporal dispersibility. So that we need another technique, new techs, for example, the battery system or the hydrogen system and so on. And also the spatial dispersibility, spatial. This is the mountainside to seaside, outdoor energy to indoor energy, or indoor energy to the outdoor energies. So we have two kinds of dispersibility. One is a temporal, another one is a spatial dispersibility. So we need new text. So maybe the new text can make intelligence dispersibility possible. So in Tohoku University, we are now conducting a new text for temporal dispersibility of energy and also spatial dispersibility of energies. But we need the new techs. And another one is the renewable energies. The renewable energy, new research, a new renewable energy system, and also the no carbon dioxide emissions and the social and community acceptance. That is very important. So we new techs and also the policy can enhance renewable energy more. So not only technology, but also the policy is important to enhance renewable energies. And the third one is very important, the local production and the local benefit of energies. So energy for local community, that is very important. So please remember, in Japanese government, the Japanese electric company covers the national grid, covers the whole land of Japan as a national grid. So the energy for everyone, energy for the whole land of Japan, but energy for local community, that is another concept. Energy independent or minimum effect of the global economy. Because after the coronavirus, the oil price is changing very, very rapidly. So our society, our economy is always related to the global economy. So energy independent, the minimum effect to the global economy, that is very important. And the local government and university partnership is very also important because the local government has not so power to create the new concept of energy. So university can support the local community and the local government. And the new local business and the industry using local energy. So the local production and the local benefit. So this is very important, new local business and industry using local energies. So enhancement of local economy and renewable energy production, usage of energy in local. This is a reborn and a cycling of energy. That's the kind of energy independent society. So energy independent community and a new business in local. So that is a new concept and also the new lifestyle in the local community. And the university and the local government partnership is very important to enhance, to push the local production and the local benefit. So I would like to talk about some example of Iceland. Iceland, you know, the Iceland is located in the mid-Atlantic Ocean. It's a very small island, but very rich country. And the total population is 330,000, not so many, very small island. And this island is covered by volcano and a glacier, no trees. I've been to Iceland many times, but there are no trees. And the population is almost population is living in around Reykjavik in the capital city. So that is a small island, but they have more energy. In the primary energy consumption in the demand in Iceland from 1940 to 2011, after the World War II, the almost energy consumption is oil and coal. But then after the 1970 and 80, the geothermal is increasing and hydro is also increasing. So oil, and that means the gasoline for vehicle is now limited. And Icelandic electric energy is the energy consumption. The 74% is primary aluminum. Primary aluminum. What's the meaning? So please keep in mind, Iceland is located in the mid-Atlantic Ocean. They import bauxite, aluminum resources from Australia and from South America. And using the renewable energy in Iceland for the hydro and the geothermal, they refine the aluminum and they export aluminum metal to European countries and sometimes to United States. So energy consumption, 74% of energy consumption is metal refining. So metal aluminum requires huge amount of electricity, but which is produced by hydro and geothermal, which is the renewable energies. So now is a contribution to the economy. So the fishing in Iceland, about 1/4 is fishing and and about 30% is aluminum metals, and tourism and others. So Iceland is a very big, rich country, and they produce metals using the renewable electricity. So that is one of the strategy to enhance the industry, local industry, and to enhance renewable energies. So the Iceland electricity, the hydro and geothermal, the heating is the geothermal industry using renewable energies. And oil for only for vehicle, but the near future maybe the vehicle is electric vehicle and the fuel cell vehicle. So they don't need any oil. So the Iceland is energy independent countries, the renewable energy countries. So back to the Tohoku district in Japan, we have a collaboration in Senbok city. The Senbok is the one very small village in the mountainside in here, Senbok city, and this is hot springs, we have a collaboration with Senbok local government, hydrogen production of hydrogen by hot springs. So here is a mountainside and the resort town. And there are many hot springs, and using hot springs, we can generate hydrogen. So this is the Tamagawa hot springs, the famous hot springs, and this is the pH 1.2. Wow, 1.2, and it's acidic solutions and a huge amount of volume. It's spitting out the 9,000 liters per minute, huge. And also the pH 1.2. So using the hot springs plus waste aluminum, and we can get the hydrogen production system. Aluminum waste materials and hot springs and the hydrogens. This is hydrogen car or new business. We already do the field experiment in Tamagawa hot springs. This installed, but just small sites, but it's a field experiment. And put the waste aluminum and put into the hot springs, and we can get the hydrogen. So this is a field experiment, and the hot springs, the pipelines, and the aluminum plus hot springs, acidic hot springs, and we can get the H2 gas. So that's one. So this is a video of the hydrogen production. It's very small. It's not so smooth, but you can see some bubble. The bubble is hydrogen. Bubble is hydrogen. It's 1.2 hot springs. The temperature in that time about 60 degrees in C. So the bubble it's not so smooth, but bubble is the hydrogen. So the hydrogen production, so Tamagawa hot springs. This is the simulations and kinetic equations. So Tamagawa, we can get the very good results using the Tamagawa hot springs. We can get some amount of hydrogens. So the hydrogen in local rural communities, the resort and the natural resort and the natural tourism, hydrogen bus, and the delivery by drone. And the many people living in the countryside, the drone is a very good tool to deliver the food and the post and the letters. So the hydrogen battery is important. And the further research and objectives, the rare metal resources and neutralization of hot springs. So we are now conducting the collaboration with local community to generate the hydrogen. Okay, so energy. So last almost 300 years in the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain, around 1750, we the people, humankind produces a steam locomotive and steam engines. So after the industrial revolutions from 1750s, it is a coal. We need a huge amount of coal to generate steam. So we can coal. This is a coal era. And then around 1850, in the Pennsylvania state in the United States, Rockefeller discovered how to get oil from the subsurface. So we start the oil times, oil era, oil period. So from 1950s, we call this is oil era. Still now we are living in oil era. It's a global economy. And 1950, it's a nuclear era. 1944, just 1 year before the end of World War II, the physicists in the United States, they discovered the nuclear system in Chicago University, in the Manhattan Plan. So after the 1950, we can call it nuclear era. But after 2011, we had a Fukushima problem, and also we have a Chernobyl problem, and we had a 3 Mile problem. So nuclear is not so acceptable in the society. So the 1950 coal era, 1850 oil era, the 1950 the nuclear era. So how about the next 2050? I don't know the future, but we already discussed about the ideal future target, that is a sustainable and sufficient society, so which can supported by some keywords. So what kind of keywords? The keywords is one of the keywords is renewable or renewable energy, and also renewable means sustainable energy. And also dispersibility. I already mentioned about the dispersibility is temporal and spatial dispersibility, which is possible to develop the new battery system and hydrogen system and so on. And also the local compared to global. So I nominated 4 keywords for the next 2050 energy era. One is renewable. One is sustainable, one is dispersibility, and one is local. So that is the keyword for sustainable and sufficient society in 2050. Okay, this is the final slide. After the COVID-19, that is the beyond the breakthrough. Beyond the breakthrough, that is the key, another concept. So global economy is very important, and the many people believe that the globalization can make the future a bright future. But we already noticed after globalization, we have to think about the local. So beyond the global is very, very important. Okay, so finally, this is also the final slide, the sustainable, sufficient society. So that is very beautiful. It's a track. It's the track to dreams, a sustainable and sufficient society from Antarctica. Okay. テリマカシありがとうございます。That is my distinguished lecture for UTM students. Thank you very much, テリマカシ.
Okay, thank you very much. Sensei, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. We listened to you, I think almost 45 minutes regarding on the topics, and it is very excellent to us. And thank you very much for introducing Malaysia. It is maybe out of the scope of the geothermal, but it is a very benefit actually from all of us. So we received few questions here, but before I go through to the questions there, Professor Tsuchiya, can you actually explain to us now? It's about people aware about the renewable energy, and the society is also maybe some of the society is adapting that kind of renewable energy. But what exactly, if you look into the trend by now, before the COVID and after the COVID, what exactly the movement by the government when they are looking to this kind of roadmaps or blueprint on the renewable energy? Maybe you have some kind of figures on that. Please, Professor.
Yes. So after COVID-19, so for example, last 3 months, more than 4 months, we could not go to Tokyo. But before the COVID-19, I went to Tokyo once in a week, but the last 4 months I haven't been to Tokyo. So the local community, the local society is independent from Tokyo society. So and also so that is the new society after COVID-19. So, for example, energy, for example, the food, for example, job. So the local community is important instead of the Tokyo area, instead of the urban area. So now, as many people noticed, Tokyo is too huge. And so now the COVID and the coronavirus is now Tokyo is spreading, and Osaka is also spreading. So the huge and crowded city is very dangerous and risky. But in the Tohoku district, we are not so much populations. So we are now apart from Tokyo. So we are, for example, the independent country from the Tokyo area. So after the COVID-19, so each area has each characteristics, and each area has each benefit, business. So that is the new society after COVID-19.
Thank you, Professor. Part of that, we are actually looking some of the questions there, but maybe the question is more towards to the cost when we try to implement, because you already compared between the solar, between the wind and everything up to the geothermal, and people are actually looking on that. The costing here is because of the sufficient and also the balance on the economy there. Maybe you have some opinion on that?
That's right. That's right. Cost is very important. Cost is very, very important. And but we say, so it's a value. So how do you think about the value? So government said the nuclear is very cheap, but actually after the disaster, after the accident, the government, electric company can spend the huge money to recover the land, to give the money to the people. So the nuclear is not so cheap energy system. So now the government, people can notice the renewable energy is not so cheap. So, but instead of the nuclear and the solar and the geothermal wind, it's relatively high cost. But the totally the social acceptance and the values and the feelings, so including everything, including a feeling of a human. So this renewable energy can provide new values. So the renewable energy is not so expensive, not so high cost compared to the thermal and nuclear. For example, the thermal is depending on the oil price, but oil price is always depending on the global economics. So we are always thinking about the cost variations. But in the renewable energy, we can estimate the cost of renewable energy. It's apart from global economies. So the oil and the nuclear is always connecting to the global society, global economies. But renewable energy is independent from global economy. So and the new feelings of the energy. So the renewable energy is not so expensive, not so high cost compared with nuclear and thermal. So, and our member of our member is an economist. They are thinking about. He is now thinking about the cost calculation of renewable energy and the nuclear and the thermal energy. Yes, cost is very important, but I think the renewable energy is getting down and the nuclear is getting up. So now the near future cost is changing.
Professor Tsuchiya, I actually read one of the articles, from United States. They already have under the SDG for 2030, but they actually moving towards to 2050. You already projecting something on 2050. Do you think that geothermal will be one of that?
Yes. The 2030 is we have only 10 years. It's very difficult to improve and to find the new technology. Only 10 years. So we have the project, research project. So we can expect the result because only the 10 years. So 2030, it is possible to create the new energy, geothermal energy system. But we already planned. We already have a project. We will have a project. We can estimate. We estimate the future in 2030. 2030, it is possible. But 2050 is far, almost 30 years from now. So we have to change. We have to create a completely new technology. So 2030 is just we can looking, but 2050 is a little bit far future. So, but we have to create new technology for 2050 society.
Yeah, because the question is actually been asked from your colleague, because we have in UTM, we have MJIT, Malaysian Japanese Institute, Professor Iwamoto Koji. He's actually asking you the question there. Okay, the next question from Nur Hayati Hussein. How about fusion energy? For example, USA looking utilize this energy for future. I mean, this is fusion energy.
Yes, the fusion energy it's a dream. It's a dream. Yeah. But that is very important. So they're talking about some researchers are studying about the fusion energy. So, and also, that is important. Not only the one nuclear, not only the one energy. So fusion energy is very important.
Is it anything in Japan? Do you know already started?
Yes, we have a project, but maybe many people said to fusion 2050 is impossible. Maybe 2100.
Oh, we have our ancestor. Will we be as the ancestor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The next question from Alif Mokhtar. Hi, Prof. Could you share with us what are the main challenges in developing technology for renewable energy? The first thing is about the challenges.
Yeah.
And how the collaboration between university and industry could benefit the advancement of renewable technology. Thank you.
Yes. Most important technology is battery. Most important technology for renewable energy is battery or storage of energy. That is important. So that is a new text. So, for example, the lithium-ion batteries or the solid-state batteries, the hydrogen batteries, and NH4 in the conversion of hydrogen. So that is storage technology of energy. That is a key technology for enhancement of renewable energies. So, as you know, Fadil-san, so in Tohoku University, we are many material scientists.
Yes.
So the battery is very important. So now it's lithium-ion, but maybe after 10 years, the system is changing. And last year, Nobel Prize, Japanese people, one Japanese can get the Nobel Prize as the lithium-ion batteries, but maybe next 10 years, the situation is changing. So the different system of the batteries, we expect. So this question is very important, but I think the storage of energy, the battery technology is very important.
And do you have any examples, the biggest and the very good example on the collaboration university? For example, in Tohoku, what exactly the collaboration already in renewable technology?
Yeah. We have a project with the government. Yes, and we are the organization, the New Energy Organization. So they provide the huge money to enhance the battery system and the renewable energy system. So politically, the government keep the nuclear politics, but actually under the surface, they are studying, they are developing another technologies. So the apparent on the surface politics is the nuclear, but actually many researchers in industries and national institute, they are developing the new technology of renewable energy as in the batteries. Oh, that is a two ways. This is apparent politics. This is true politics.
Yeah. I
That's
think
the Japanese fan.
yeah, it's okay. I think the politics is different based on the case and also country there. It is being accepted by the social and the society. I think that's all from us. I think many of us actually try to reach you and to ask you a few questions, but because we already almost 1 hour, so that's actually our limits to set. Actually, we are very, very thank you because your time and it's also your sharing session with us. I think it's not only because of the knowledge there, but because of your feeling, because you said that the renewable energy should be come from the heart. Something like that people will accept, not only on the costing, but also the society acceptance. I think this is the best platform for us. And if anybody from out there, from other country, if you are listen this kind of channel, believe us, this is only one of the single trademark. Renewable energy is not only about the costing, it's about the sustainability to sustain that kind of things.
That's
So
right.
Professor Tsuchiya is the best man actually to explain more. But since we are very limited time to explain about the Antarctica, maybe the next the next round, the Antarctica. Why Antarctica is a very important to all humankind. Actually, this
Yes,
is
of
the
course.
one of the reason why we invite him in this session. Thank you, Professor Tsuchiya, and I'm back to Professor Dato' Rafiq.
Thank you so much, Fadil, and to Prof Noriyoshi Tsuchiya, our deepest gratitude to you for sharing your knowledge with all of us. Arigato gozaimasu. And to all of you watching this program throughout the globe, and we have our viewers from Europe, the Middle East, and I heard from Russia and Africa as well joining our webinar live. And of course, in Asia and Southeast Asia, don't forget to like our Facebook page because we have many more interesting lectures for you. Do share this video to all your friends and colleagues worldwide. Thank you for watching. I'll see all of you in our next episode of UTM Engineering Distinguished Lecture Series. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.